Hi, I'm Harvey Blankfeld, host of Las Vegas Real Estate Now and principal of the Blankfeld Group at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services of Nevada. We have prepared this video for you so you can better understand the documents we use here in Southern Nevada. And while we don't review every section of the document, we do try and clear up some of the most relevant concerns. We are recording this video in 2023, and if you're watching long after that, there are likely changes that have taken place with this document, and this video may have some parts that are outdated. Also know that we operate in Southern Nevada, and these forms are specific to our market. While you may be able to glean some value from this video, please know that no two markets operate exactly alike. And finally, I need you to know that I'm not an attorney, and none of what I'm saying should be interpreted as legal advice. Okay, let's get started. The buyer brokerage agreement. Okay, this is a document, much like a listing agreement is to a seller, that is a contractual obligation for a broker to work on the buyer's behalf with fiduciary responsibility to that buyer to get them the best possible deal they can, find them the right home, and help them negotiate the best possible deal. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. So right off, we got Barney and Betty Rubble signing an agreement with me to be their agent through my brokerage. There's their name, there's the brokerage name, there's the term of the agreement. In this case, it's going to be a 6-month term. Down here, we decided that they're going to be looking for residential property. We have choices there. And now the buyer has obligations, as does the broker. But let's talk about the buyer's obligations first. They agree to work exclusively with me and my broker specifically. If for whatever reason they decide I'm not doing the job for them, they can go to my broker and ask for another agent if they like, if they're not happy with me. They also agree to furnish us with all the relevant data, everything we need to know to help them to get the best possible deal. They also agree to be available to look at property when necessary, and it's on their schedule. And they need to be available to see the homes. You don't want to buy a home without seeing it, although people do it, and we can do that for you. Prefer not to. Prefer that you see the home. They also, buyer also agrees to act in good faith. And then when it comes to new homes, in Part E here, this is an important element to this. New home builders will very often pay commissions to your buyer broker for you, on your behalf, save you money. They do this a lot. Actually, most builders here in Southern Nevada do that. And they'll either offset the entire amount or at least a portion of it, so that'll save you money in the transaction. And they also agree to understand that this is the procuring cause. Procuring cause is a term we use in real estate that basically says, yes, we're the agent, we're your agent, we're the ones responsible for helping you get this home. Now, the broker has certain representations that they have. They must, of course, hold a license here in Nevada. They must work diligently on your behalf to locate a property acceptable to you, and then negotiate on your behalf to get you the best possible terms that you find acceptable for the home that you want to buy. Now, let's talk about money. Compensation can be determined in a variety of ways. It could be a percentage of the purchase price, or it could be a set amount, or it could be the higher of the two. In this case, I'm only setting it as a percentage of the agreement. So whatever property they decide to buy, it's 3% of that selling price. Now, if the seller is offering some help on that or wants to offer help on that, the buyer can certainly ask that. The buyer can ask for help on any element of their closing costs from the seller. And so that's what happens quite often here. Down here, the buyer also agrees to pay a $350 fixed fee. In this case, we have what we call our BAC. It's a fixed fee that's in addition to the commission. It actually goes to the brokerage, and it helps support the attorneys and other elements that they provide, services they provide to our clients. Part C says they agree to, that the buyer agrees to pay the broker whether they buy it or they find someone else to buy it for them. I can imagine people trying to say, well, I'll get Uncle Joe to buy it for me and then I'll have to pay the commission. That's not true. If you end up being the owner of that property or you have somebody else buy it on your behalf, you still owe the commission. If the completion of the transaction is prevented by the buyer, the broker is still going to be paid a commission also. So if you stand in the way of it in some way, then the commission is still due. You also agree to pay the commission within 180 days of termination of this agreement should you buy a home that was shown to you by the broker, unless you hire another broker to help you. Now, if you hire a new broker after this agreement is terminated, then there's no broker fee owed. There's no commissions owed. Excuse me. And then it's not the commission rates and the dollar amounts are all negotiable. None of it is set by our board. They have nothing to do with it. There is no automatic. It's anything you see where we're filling in blanks here on this document. It's negotiable. Let's go down here. Disclosures. You must have signed a duties owed before you even get involved with this agreement. That should be the first document you sign here in the state of Nevada. You might have to sign a consent to act. If you're working with a listing agent on a transaction and that listing agent is representing both you and the seller, then you're going to want to have a consent to act, which basically says you agree to allow that agent to represent both sides. And then you also acknowledge that there's a possibility that there's other buyers with your broker that are looking at the same house. It's a possibility. It has happened in the past. And that could be part of a consent to act as well. Non-confidentiality of offers. What this means is that the seller or the listing agent might decide to share the terms or the offer price that you're making on that property with other buyers. It's possible. As a listing agent, I would never do that because I don't want my seller to be, or one buyer to be outbid by another buyer by $10 when they could be outbid by $10,000. So I would never share the terms of one agreement with another agent. I don't like doing that. Other agents might do it though, just to be prepared. Internet advertising, internet blogs, and social media. Agents really don't have a lot of control over this. Even some of the major platforms, they kind of skew things. But if you were to find a home anywhere, it doesn't matter. And I encourage my buyers, look everywhere. You never know where you're going to find a home, where it might pop up first. It might not be in multiple lists. And we look for homes for you on your behalf outside of multiple lists as well. But the information you see on the internet may or may not be accurate. That's the main thing here. Equal housing opportunity. Of course, we're not allowed to discriminate based on federal or state laws. Again, they're reiterating this again. It's somewhat redundant, but just so you know, there are other buyers that might be working with the same broker that look at the same property. It's a possibility. By signing this, you're agreeing to mediation. If there's some discrepancy or dispute between you and the brokerage or the agent, there would be mediation at the board. I want to point out to you, as I have before, that the board is not there to protect any individual realtor or broker. That's not their objective. Their objective is to protect the good name of realtors, all of us. So if a realtor or a broker has misbehaved in some way, they're going to get sanctioned somehow. It's going to happen. Attorney's fees, the loser is going to agree to pay everybody's attorney's fees. Damage cap, basically this means that the most you can sue your broker for is the amount of commission that they've earned. This contract is written in Nevada under Nevada law. Capacity, this section basically says that yes, I'm of sound mind. I can sign this contract. Entire contract, to me, this section means what's written is what counts. What I'm saying in this video or what your broker or agent explains to you by way of verbalization doesn't count. It's what's written is what counts. And so make sure you read the document. Read the document carefully and understand it. If part of the contract was deemed invalid at some point, it would not invalidate the whole thing. And then by signing this, you're saying that you haven't signed an agreement with another broker. Again, this is an exclusive relationship. You can't have multiple buyer brokerage agreements out there at the same time, okay? By signing, you're accepting the terms and you acknowledge the agreement. FIRPTA, this talks about foreign nationals. If you're a foreign national, you might be subject to additional taxation. So make sure you investigate that carefully and understand it. If you were to default, again, this is somewhat redundant. If you were to default on the transaction and not have another broker working for you at the termination of this agreement, you would still owe this commission to the broker up to 180 days after the termination of this agreement. Additional terms, this could be anything that the broker and or the buyer decide that they want to put in this area. I've put in a reminder about new homes. I think it's important to reiterate that so that the buyer understands that if you ever go to talk to a builder, make sure that they understand you do have a buyer-broker agreement right now. You should take your agent with you at least the first time, if not every time you go to visit that builder, so that they can help you, because that's what we're there for. We're there to help. We've done this before, and we can help you. And I want to remind you once again, more times than not, builders will pay our commission for you, or at least part of it, if not most of it, if not all of it. And then down here at the bottom, this is a bold, capitalized section, so that means it's important. And what it says is the pre-printed portion of this document has been approved by our local board. Again, I want to reiterate that means that all the blanks that we're filling in, they're all negotiable. I want to remind you of that. That's very important to understand from both sides, the broker and the buyer. Now, The buyer could decide, yeah, I don't want to sign this agreement. I don't like the terms, and move on and find another broker. The broker could decide, yeah, if you're not happy with my terms, I don't want to work with you. It's a two-sided agreement. Both sides are agreeing to work with one another. And then down here is where you sign. This is where you currently live. This is not the address you're going to, obviously. And the broker's information, the agent, you can see right here, I'm designated as the assigned agent here in this particular transaction. And that is your buyer brokerage agreement. Hope it was helpful.
I hope you found this video helpful. Please feel free to review our other videos at www.lvrealestateradio.com. And once again, thank you for taking the time to learn about this document. And if you have any questions, just call or text me at 702-203-1165.